the thing that stood out to me about that game was not where you got to, but how you got there. No Zach, Dorian goes down, and then you have guys, lots of comeback stories, and freshmen emerge, guys like Yankov and Latu, and then all the young guys like some of the freshman running backs, things like that. Do you think that's a accurate assessment, or how do you?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we got an opportunity to play a lot of guys. You learn by doing, and we got some guys that got valuable playing experience in a college football game with referees, with ramifications. If you make a mistake, unlike in practice, you don't get to do it over again. You got to learn from your mistakes. So there's some good things that we will build off of film, but there's some things that we can teach off of film also. So it was beneficial that we could get so many guys. I don't know the exact number, but we played a lot of guys today, and it was fortunate that we got a chance to get all those guys in. So hopefully we can build from there.
Can you give us updates on what happened with Zach and then Dorian?
Yeah, they're both unavailable.
Injuries?
Unavailable.
What about Cam Brown?
Cam's unavailable.
It seemed in the first half there were some secondary breakdowns. What did you see from that?
I got to look at the tape. I think they did a nice job with their slow mesh RPO game. I don't know if it was specifically secondary breakdowns. I thought their quarterback was really accurate. They had a nice plan. They're trying to, suck you up a little bit with the run and then throw the ball over the top. But I thought the ball was accurate and they did a nice job. There wasn't like anybody was wide open. There was one play in the second half that I think our young kids blew the coverage, and they hit a kid down the seam and got it down into the red zone, and then Croy had the pick. But besides that, I think we were close in coverage, but we got to make plays on the ball.
Aside from the status of DTR, what are your thoughts on how Ethan Garbers played?
I thought Garbers did a nice job. He's going to want that one back down in the red zone. Go through a logical progression in terms of where we are. He knew it. He knew the answer coming off the field. But again, he's a kid that, taking advantage of the reps and the opportunity that he gets. And I thought he was really accurate with his ball today. Did a nice job in placing the ball in certain places. But if you ask him, I think he'd probably want that one throwback.
Two guys I alluded to earlier, Latu and Yankov. Latu obviously having been medically retired, Yankov having just so many injuries.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like to see them come in and contribute in the way they did in such a meaningful way?
No, I think that's a really good point. This is a game of adversity, and I think for both of those guys, they've worked so hard, at coming over and overcoming some of the adverse situations that they've been in, and really proud of them. If you could see behind the scenes the work they've done with our medical staff, the work they've done with our football performance staff in terms of rehabilitating themselves to get an opportunity to go back and play college football, something that both those guys love. So the fact that we have both those guys available to us is a huge deal. Colson was a huge contributor for us during the COVID year during special teams, but then hurt his foot. Transitioned from quarterback, was playing some wide out. He's up to 230 pounds. He's a physical back, but he'll be the first to tell you he's never been tackled as a running back. And so today was kind of the first time. So I think he'll start to, grow and learn, and it's that experience that I think he can lean on now. But for both him and Latu, I was really happy for both those guys.
And how would you assess just how the running backs played today, replacing Zach? You think you rolled through 4 or 5 of them?
I think we rolled through a lot of guys. I think they were solid. I don't think any of them was standout. It was really good for TJ to kind of get his first extensive playing time as a true freshman. He was an early enrollee for us and did a really nice job in spring ball. And the fact that we could get him out on the field today, scored a touchdown, did a nice job. Christian Grubb coming off of missing an entire year. He's another comeback kid that did a great job from a rehab standpoint. Has worked really hard. It was good to see Grubber get out there and do some things. So, to get some depth behind Zach is important for us. We felt like we can count on Keegan, but now we think we got some other guys that hopefully down the road as the season goes along, your depth is always going to be tested. So the fact that some of those young guys got a chance to get back in and get some playing time was a positive for us today.
And is it hard to keep your players engaged in a game like this? And how do you go about helping that?
Well, I think in college football you only get 12, and you better take advantage of all of them. I just was told coming in that there were a lot of upsets today in college football, and I don't think you can look past anybody. You really got to keep your focus on what it is, and savor it. It's a unique sport. You prepare so long for just 12 opportunities. As I told our players in the locker room, we only have 10 left. We've already got two. We've already had 2. And it still feels like it's just starting, but it goes like that. So the season seems like it's long, but the games are short. So we got to take advantage of them. So I think their attention when they come back on Monday is really going to be focused on South Alabama, who had a big win today over Central Michigan, and Central Michigan's a good football team. So we'll get back at it here.
So
Keegan Jones got most of the carries in the first half, but it was more of a committee in the second. Was that more experimental or by design, or do you think there's more competition in the running back room now after today?
It really was just how the game expressed itself, in terms of where we were. Obviously when Zach wasn't available, relied on Keegan a little bit. We were throwing the ball a little bit more in the first half, and then wanted to get those young guys an opportunity to get some playing time in the varsity games. So it wasn't, really a master plan. We had, you have no idea when you go into a game exactly how it's going to turn out or what's going to go on in the game itself. So, as it expects itself during the course of the game, I thought Deshaun did a really good job of managing the reps for those guys.
Thank you.
How would you assess Zach's availability for next week?
I'm not a prognosticator. If I was, I'd be at Del Mar tomorrow making a lot of cash. So we'll just take it how it comes. I don't make those decisions. Other people make those decisions. So.
They had some success against your secondary,
Mhm.
particularly in the first half. What did you see in that
Yeah, I
aspect?
thought they did a nice job scheme-wise, and I thought the quarterback was extremely accurate with the football. And I'll give them credit. I think, one thing I hope everybody knows that's a really well-coached football team. I thought they did a really nice job. Sometimes you got to tip the cap. When you look at guys and all of a sudden someone's running clean down the seam, it's like, hey, what are we doing? But our guys are running stride for stride with people, and he put the ball on the money a couple times. And sometimes you just got to tip your cap. Fortunately for us, we held them to 7 points. We took some body shots there, but I think we brought our back and made sure that when we needed it, we got it. But there's some things, obviously, like anything, you got to clean up. No one plays a perfect game. And I think that's one of the things that deep down inside as a coach, you kind of like, hey, we got some things we got to fix here. I don't think in this game you're ever arrived. You got to, each week's a new challenge. We get an opportunity next week to do it one more time, and that's really what our focus is going to be on. But I will say, I think, Eddie Robinson Jr. had a chance to talk to him before the game, but I told them, their entire staff after the game, that's a really, really well coached football team.
You had a good pass rush last week, and you had some really good things this week. From what you saw, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it's personnel driven. I think we've got some guys in our front four that can create pressure, and so we don't have to all out blitz. I felt sometimes in years past that's what we had to do to get a rush. But if you do that, two things happen, and it's really, we talk about it all the time. If you all out blitz all the time, the band plays. Is it our band or their band? And I think too often it was their band playing. So when you can generate a rush with 4 guys and then be able to stay in coverage, I think that helps. Mathematically it just fits better for you. You got 4 rushing and 7 in coverage. You got a better shot. But those 4 rushing have to be able to get to the quarterback. And I think we've got a couple guys now that I think have got some experience in terms of getting to the quarterback. But it's going to amp up this week. South Alabama's a really good football team, so we're going to need those guys even more than we did in the first 2 weeks.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks guys.